All right, let's talk about set point elevation or weight gain as a result of inactivity or injury. So let's first start by defining what is a metabolically important period of inactivity or injury. We'll all hurt our knee or our ankle or our shoulder or something that will kind of set us back for a little bit of time, but usually this doesn't cause weight gain. But when these events become prolonged and are drag out over months to years, they can result in permanent and irreversible weight gain. And the first thing I do when I work with patients and try to identify whether inactivity or injury is playing a role in their weight gain is try to measure their steps. And oftentimes, because of the prevalence of pedometers out there, and they're on almost every phone and watch and all these different devices and are becoming very inexpensive, most people have experienced this or tried this a little bit. A lot of the wisdom out there states that you should aim for 10,000 or more steps a day. And I think that's a pretty reasonable amount. That's 4 or 5 miles depending on the length of your stride. It's a pretty good distance. And you know, it takes quite a bit of movement throughout the day to get up to 10,000 steps. Most people are somewhere in the 4,000 to 8,000 step range depending on their lifestyle, their job, and a number of other factors. That to me is somewhere in the reasonable range. It's when we start getting down below 4,000 to 2,000, 3,000, or even fewer steps, that's when we start having to question, is there an injury that is severely limiting someone's activity level? And this is a common cause of weight gain when we start to get into this level of inactivity or injury. You may want to walk around, but because of your knee, your hip, your joints, your back, whatever it is, you're just not able to. A lot of people will think that, hey, once I get more mobile, once I get more active, that the weight is going to come right back down to normal, just wherever it was before my injury. And in fact, that's not what usually happens. I've seen it happen a few times, but for the most part, that's the exception, not the rule. That's something that's very important for anyone who's considering orthopedic surgery or a prolonged period of rehab or rest in order to get over an injury. If you think, well, you know, I'm putting on this weight because of this injury, as soon as my mobility increases, the weight's going to come right back off. The truth is that that's not what happens, and I'll explain why in just a second. Let's first talk about why this inactivity or injury does cause weight gain. Most people think, well, it's quite simple. We're just not burning a lot of calories, and we're still eating the same, and so the weight keeps coming on and on and on. But that doesn't get into this more important concept of your metabolic thermostat and how inactivity or injury blocks the normal functioning of your metabolic thermostat. Again, if you eat too much or you exercise too little and you gain a few pounds, what we'll normally see is a decrease in your hunger and an increase in your metabolism to kind of get back to that regular set point weight. And if you restrict your calories and try to go on a diet, your hunger is going to increase and your metabolism is going to go down, and that's going to try to bring you back down to that normal set point. So what happens is if you gain, let's say, 3 pounds and you have a bad back, so normally your hunger will decrease and your metabolism will increase. But your metabolism isn't just like this furnace inside you that burns. It's more subconscious, and it causes you to walk a little further, to park your car far away and walk up to the store, to take the stairs, not the elevator, to go to the gym, to go for a walk after a meal. All of these things are these subtle subconscious cues drive us to increase our activity level and as a result increase our metabolism. So if your body is saying, your metabolic thermostat saying, hey, you should move more, park your car way there, that spot is fine. You don't need to circle the lot a second time. Just park and then you'll walk up, it'll be fine. But your back says, oh, no, it won't. My back is killing me. I'm not able to walk. What we find is that your injury is blocking the normal function of your metabolic thermostat. So where your body's trying to get you back down to that set point weight, your back injury or your knee injury is preventing you from getting up, moving around a little bit more and bringing it back to center, to that set point. And what happens is over time, you gain 3 pounds and then another 2 pounds. And each time you do, your body can't bring the weight back to the set point. And as a result, over time, with each time you start gaining weight like that, and it stays there for a prolonged period of time, that becomes essentially the new set point, the new normal. Now there's a double whammy here with inactivity or injury. And this I think does a better job of explaining why once the metabolism is able to rev back up because you've recovered from your injury, you don't necessarily come back down to that pre-injury weight. And what we find is that with any prolonged period of inactivity or injury, you're going to lose some muscle. And muscle as you get older is really easy to lose and really hard to build back up. So building new muscle takes a lot of energy, a lot of effort, and a very sustained and deliberate period of rehabilitation or exercise to get it back up there. And so if you are laid up for 3 or 6 or 9 months, you're going to lose substantial muscle. Now, muscle is essentially the fountain of youth, and it's one of the most important determinants of what your body's set point is. The more muscle you have, the lower your set point goes. And so when you lose that muscle, that just causes that set point to come up and up and up. That, along with your inability to kind of bring it back to center because of your back injury or knee injury or hip injury, preventing your metabolism from being able to burn off those extra calories. This double whammy, this 1-2 punch, essentially results in significant weight gain. And that weight gain is typically irreversible unless you're able to participate in a really sustained and deliberate program to rebuild and redevelop that muscle. That's not something that's easy to do. That's an hour, 2 hours a day working with a trainer. There's a lot that goes into it as you get older to rebuild muscle lost from inactivity or injury. So what can you do if your activity is limited and you find yourself facing a period of inactivity or injury? These are things that are typically not our fault. It could be a fall, it could be arthritis, it can be something that's causing this. It's not necessarily something we've done. So if we see this in our life and we recognize that this is happening, what can we do? And the bottom line is it's anything that keeps you moving. Whatever you can do to prevent yourself from getting down to that 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 steps a day. And finding chair exercise. If you're unable to get up and walk, do exercises in a chair. Yoga is an absolutely amazing tool that almost anybody at any age can participate in. On one hand, we think of kind of these very elaborate and complicated poses that require a lot of strength and balance. But on the other hand, it can be very simple and just getting up out of your chair, laying on the ground, moving your body around, feeling your body weight, working with your body weight. Just doing that, even a little bit, can help prevent significant muscle loss. It doesn't take much to prevent the muscle loss, but once you lose it, it takes a ton to rebuild it. So it's way easier to prevent the muscle loss. And a simple 10 or 15-minute yoga routine every day during a period of inactivity or injury that kind of works around your injury and is certain to be something that you can do with comfort and without putting yourself at risk for worsening that injury is absolutely worthwhile. You can slow that muscle loss by 50%, 75%, or even more, and it's really an important thing to do. And then finally, it's really anything in the water. The water is the place you should first think of when you're injured. Swimming, getting injured from swimming is such an uncommon event. You almost never see an Olympic swimmer out with an injury. They generally don't become injured because it's such a low impact sport. Water aerobics and even walking in the water, these are things that almost anybody even with severe disability can do. And it's difficult. You got to find the time and the space, but it is absolutely well worth it. So when you're faced with a period of inactivity or injury, whatever you do, try to stay moving, try to stay mobile, and try to stay active. Thanks.